Hey everyone, Rich Ferguson here, your favorite trickster, and I'm back to teach you an amazing card trick that's gonna make you look like a poker wizard. That's right, and this takes no skill, no sleight of hand whatsoever, and you're gonna have your victim, spectator, brother, sister, friend, whoever, deal the cards themselves, and they're gonna have an amazing poker hand, but then there's an awesome twist and kicker at the end. You guys, let's do this. And first, I wanna just let you know, check out my new book, Amaze Anyone, Anytime, Anywhere. The link's in the description, or you can check out my brand new site at richferguson.com. You guys, thank you so much. Let's do this. Now, since I'm doing this just to a camera and there's no real interaction, it's gonna miss a lot of the fun elements, but I'm gonna walk you through those after I show you what this trick looks like up close. So come on down to my table and I'll show you the basic trick. Once you're set up for this effect, this is what it will look like. I want to give the cards a quick shuffle, and then we're going to do some poker. I'm going to let you do all of the work. But first, we need to burn the bottom card and top card because I could have peeked and known what those are. So we're going to get rid of those to begin with. We'll lose those into the deck. And by the way, this is a very common thing in poker. So now the cards are clean and fresh. No one can know the top or bottom cards or any of the order of the cards. From here, I want you at home to reach through the camera and cut about 2/3 of these cards and flip them over right here. I'll pretend to be you, and let's just say this is what you do. Now I would like you to take about half of those cards and turn them over. Once again, I will be you. And now put the cards all together. And last but not least, I will be you again. Nicely done. Now let's see how they look. There is one section of cards right here that are still face down. I would like you to take these cards and deal 5 piles of cards until you run out of cards. But first, name a good poker hand for me, something like a straight or maybe a royal flush. Now deal the cards in 5 piles and let's see what happens. So your spectator deals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they continue until they are completely out of cards. And this should be very random. It doesn't matter where they start or stop. And at this point, when they're out of cards, say, turn over the top card of each pile, and they will have what happens to be, in this case, a full house with aces and kings. How amazing is that? But that's not all. Here's the kicker. I'm the magician, and I want to beat you. So if you could please turn over all of those piles. And lo and behold is the straight royal flush, and I win. This is such a fantastic card trick because anyone can do it. It just has a simple setup and the rest is self-working. There's zero sleight of hand. There's nothing to do. Let me show you exactly the setup. First of all, you're going to take any hand you want, 5 cards. In this case, I like the royal flush. I think it plays best. Take the royal flush, put these cards together in order, because that's how it's going to end up when they deal it. Put these on top of a packet. And on the bottom of the deck, you're going to put 5 other cards. In this case, it's a full house. Now you can put anything you want. It could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be anything you want. I'd like a really powerful full house on the bottom and the royal flush on top because that's most likely what someone's going to say, especially if you lead them when you ask. So name a strong poker hand, like, I don't know, like a 3 of a kind or a straight flush or a full house. They're probably going to mention a straight, which is the royal flush, or royal flush, which is royal flush, or they might say a full house, which of course is the full house. So you can lead them in that path. Now, depending on which they pick, the trick still works out, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But the bottom cards are gonna go face up onto the bottom of the packet. So this is your situation. On top, you have 5 cards of your choice, in this case, the royal flush, and then the deck. And at the very bottom, 5 more cards face up. That's the setup. And now one extra nice little dressing I like to do is to take 2 more cards out of the pack, and I like to place one of those on the bottom and one of those on top. That's because if you're holding the deck of cards and moving them around, the bottom card is facing them and the top card is face down. Everything is the way it should be. If you did not have those 2 cards, the deck would be a back of a deck, and that's kind of weird. That makes no sense, right? So this is just a way to disguise it, and it makes perfect sense later when you say, let's burn the top and bottom cards, which is a very common themed thing you would do in a gambling trick or even in poker. So this is the setup. A random card, your straight flush or royal flush, the deck, and then on the bottom, face up is your 5 cards, which is the full house, and another indifferent card face down. And then you start off the trick like this. You start off by telling them that you're going to play a unique game of poker in which they are going to deal all of the cards. You then say, let's shuffle up the cards. But what you want to do is one of 2 things. If you know how to split the deck in half and then weave the cards together, you can weave them by ensuring that there's the top section of 5 or 6 or 7 cards and the bottom of the same amount, 6 or 7, 8 cards, so you do not disturb those previously set up sections. Then you can shuffle like that, do that on the table, or as a more simple version, just split the deck in half, and then when you riffle the cards together, just make sure that here, where you have your bottom stack, secretly face up, make sure that they fall first, then shuffle the cards normally, but then let this side fall last, and when you put them together, you have not disturbed your bottom or top of the deck. All that said, you could just bring the cards out like this and literally start the effect and say, hey, we're going to do a game of poker, but first let's burn the bottom and top card. Pull off the bottom card, making sure you don't do this, revealing that face up card. Flash it, turn the card down, there's the bottom card, take the top card, then take these, you can even have them place them into the deck anywhere they want. They'll stick them into the middle of the deck somewhere, square them up, and from this moment forward, the trick is self-working. Put the cards to the side and have the spectator turn over about 2/3 of the cards face up. They do that, it could be 1/2 to 2/3, it doesn't really matter, but 2/3 is better. Then half of these will be turned again, which in this case is face down, and then recollect the cards starting with this side first, which if you think about it, has your setup of face up cards on the bottom. They don't know that. So you pick up the cards like this, and now you have this mess. You can even take the cards from here and show that cards are face up, back to back, face to face. It's an absolute mess. You haven't really done anything. You're just lifting up, and it naturally wants to break at those spots because this is the real situation. When you take the cards back, you're going to be flipping these over. This is very important because if you don't and you spread the cards, you're going to see that setup there and that setup there. Because what you've done in this process of flipping the cards is put your 2 pieces that you've set up on the top and bottom both face down. So what you do when they've put the cards in a pile is take them and turn them over and spread them on the table or floor and say, look, here's a section right here of cards that are face down. Let's use those as we have eliminated this section of the cards. Now you give them this remaining packet and have them deal 5 piles until they run out, and the rest of this trick is self-working. Here is the current situation. On top is your royal flush, and on bottom is your full house. So when they deal the 5 cards, making 5 piles, guess what they've just dealt? They just dealt that royal flush. And then you're going to get rid of cards on top of that until you've completely run out of cards. I'm only going into this full detail so you could remember and understand how the trick really functions, so it's not a mystery. They will run out of cards. In this case, it happened to be even, but if it isn't even, they just keep going and going until they run out of cards. It doesn't matter where they stop, because on top, the last 5 cards dealt will be, obviously, what was originally the bottom. That's their full house. And then as a kicker, you say, you know, I wanted to do a little better than that. Let's turn all the cards over. And you reveal your royal flush, which is in perfect order. So remember when you asked them to pick a great poker hand? Well, now's your chance to blow their mind with their hand being first, then you beat them with a better hand, or you make it look like you messed up, and then you say, turn all the cards over. There's your poker hand. And that, my friend, is a pretty kick-butt dual poker hand magic effect that takes 0 skill. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you want to learn more. All right, guys, I went into a little more detail than was probably necessary for this trick because it is self-working, but I wanted you to understand, especially beginners, exactly where those bottom and top cards move and how they move around, how they end up, where they end up. Very simple. Please just get a deck of cards and try this thing out. It's so fun and so easy. And if you like simple tricks, bar bets, all kinds of fun stuff, check out my new book, Amaze Anyone, Anytime, Anywhere. It's available through my site at richferguson.com. Check it out. That's it, you guys. I'll catch you next week. Peace.